Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Hi, how are you? Good. Wow. So, anybody who have done their homework on this article? No? On your computer? Yeah, but did you do the homework? I'm asking. You did. So we can go for a discussion, right? So what did you, how did you find this article? And you erase it, right? You just didn't read it. Oh. So anybody has any insights on this article?
Absolutely clear and true.
Yeah.
And very, very, very helpful. Because as I was saying, just at the break there, that people tend to ask you things about, oh, what's meditation and why are you doing it? Or, you're going there and what's that all about? Now I realize that maybe I should be telling them a bit more than I'm telling them. I don't know. It's a fine line because you don't want to tell people too much and scare them off and intimidate them, and same time to just say, oh, it's greatly for stress reduction or something. It's not really complete. Right?
No.
So it's.
I wouldn't say that.
Well, I don't say it's
No.
good for stress reduction, but I certainly don't go into all the details.
What would you tell people if people ask you about, hey, you're doing mindfulness meditation, so what is it about besides the stress reduction? Liberation from what? I'm quite free. Oh, are you? Starting from Sunday onward? We better don't publicize this. Okay.
See, liberated from negativity.
Yeah.
From hanging on to always.
And how do you liberate yourself? How do you liberate those? How do you liberate from those things?
You know yourself better.
Yeah, you understand, you know yourself better. And how do you know yourself better? How can you know yourself better?
Mindful of what it is you're thinking, emotions and feelings, and being present in the moment.
Mm-hmm. Would that make yourself better?
I also find just that, and this is quite new for me, but really understanding the impermanence piece of it, so that I can accept things
more readily.
Because I don't have to sort of hang on to that sense of this is happening to me.
Yeah. Just happening. It's just happening. That's so important to really know. And it's really scattered discussion, okay? But I actually prepared this last week, but we didn't get too far. So Bhikkhu Bodhi said in his really classical role as this is an integral component of the Buddhist path. And you don't want to say that the Buddhist path is just limited or it's just for Buddhists. So I don't know how we can find a replacement of words to replace that Buddhist path, because when you go to when you label it as a Buddhist path, it's very, very easy that people going into this, is that a schism thing, right? And so That's why I always hesitate to use this word, because I think the teachings of the Buddha is for everybody who is, who find dissatisfaction and unhappiness in life. It doesn't matter whether they are Buddhists or not, right?
I just read something the other day that somebody said in a comment that following teachings of the Buddha had actually made them a better Christian.
Ah, that's very good. It should be.
I thought it was,
Yeah,
I
it
thought
should
was
be.
coming from-
Good. So Bhikkhu Bodhi said in his whole article, he said the purpose of mindfulness meditation, or the purpose of meditation, you can call, is the first thing is to eradicate the mind's deep defilements. That's so important. Why are we suffering? Because of all these defilements, because of all these afflictions, because of all this ignorance and craving. I experience a lot of craving, not my craving for the spaghetti this afternoon. Good thing that I had such a wonderful lunch. We found a nice cafe, Hong Kong style cafe on Broadway, and Heather, and so Eva gave me a treat, and that spaghetti and that Hong Kong style of tea nourished me so much, gave me so much energy that I could actually survive how many hours? 2.5 hours of legal meetings. Yeah, you can say, oh, and I still come back and sit here and teach and not doze off on my Dhamma seat. Doing not too bad, right? So it's really what? Eradicate the mind's deep defilements. I see so much craving. Of course, I see craving in my own perspective, in my own being. Is I crave for this project to run smoothly. I crave for this project to find a good project manager. I crave for this project to blah 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 blah. All this. Is it a craving though? Huh?
Well, it's not being equanimous if you're getting
Upset? Yes. Yes.
It could be like wishing the project well.
Yes. It's
In a good way.
it is a good intention, isn't it? As Laura said, if I lose my equanimity, then it's a craving. But I up until now, even 2.5 hours of legal meeting, I did not lose my awareness and my equanimity. I was calm, I was focused, I was very clear-headed, very clear. I was really calm for the whole 2.5 hours. And it was a productive, but we don't know the results yet, but it was productive. But we don't know, legal meetings, right? Legal meetings are legal meetings. But the whole purpose of mindfulness meditation is help us to really eradicate the deep defilements. If I have such a deep defilements of anger and ill will, animosity towards unpleasant situation, I would have reacted so badly this afternoon. I would have reacted very badly. I just sit there and being very mindful of my feelings. There was, I tell you, a lot of solidity here. Definitely a lot of hurt, a lot of difficulty, but I was very aware, and I wasn't reacting. I wasn't projecting. I wasn't reacting. I wasn't finger pointing. Nothing. I was just being aware. That's all. So I could see, how mindfulness meditation, or how meditation can help you to really remain calm in the present moment while things are happening in the outside world or in your inside world is happening, but you're not reacting. You just sit there. It's not a big tree or a piece of rock having no feelings. I have feelings, but I'm not reacting to the feelings, emotional and physical. Okay, so that's one very important aspect, and this uproot the belief in a substantial self. But how can we actually apply that to our daily life is to uproot this substantial self. How can we uproot this? Or what's the implication of this belief in the substantial self in our daily life? Ego, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, ego. Yeah. This ego is really killing us. And a lot of time because of this ego, that's why we cannot have an open heart. We cannot have an open mind. That's why we cannot be humble, because of this ego, because of this self. And also because we believe in this substantial self. So when anicca, when impermanence strikes us, we are in hell. We will be in hell because we cannot accept impermanency right happening to our lives, or right happening in front of my eyes, or in front of my, or behind, next to my ears, whatever. So this uproot this belief in this substantial self is so important, and this is one of the integral component of really of developing in this mindfulness, the whole purpose of it. And he said the objective is in turn determined by the ultimate goal of the Buddhist teaching, the attainment of Nibbana. What is Nibbana? The cessation of samsara, the cessation of all these arising of defilements, right? The cessation of this attachment to this belief in this substantial self. So also Bhikkhu Bodhi said in the classical teaching, the cultivation of wholesome qualities is harnessed. That means it's tied to the task of realizing the ultimate goal. The tameless liberation of mind, liberated by wisdom. Where is the wisdom? From Bhikkhu Bodhi's article? Yeah? The truth of existence, understanding the Dhamma, the truth of existence. What else? How can you understand the Dhamma? But how can you know that is right?
Study and through meditation.
Through a study and through meditation. That's what I taught, which was not recorded just now during meditation. Sorry. The light was on, but I thought it was recording, and I did not press. And at the end, I was going to stop it, and then I did not press. Then I did not press. It's not meant to be recorded. Good things are not supposed to be recorded. Yes, supposed to be recorded, but in your mind, not supposed to be recorded and replayed. I forgot what I talk about. I think I talk about the Eightfold Noble Path. A little bit of Eightfold Noble Path just now. But the most important two factors of Eightfold Noble Path are
Right view, right understanding.
yeah. What are they in Pali? Sama. Huh? No, samadhi is right mindfulness. Samadhi. And then? Sammasankappa. Hey, good student. Samadhi and sammasankappa. So really study is the three kinds of wisdom. The first is Sutta Mayapana. That means the wisdom developing by studying the literatures. The second one is Chitta Mayapana. What is that? What is that? Chitta Mayapana?
Reasoning.
Through reasoning, through digesting the study, and through understanding. Through understanding. What's the last one? Bhavana Mayapana. What is that? What is bhavana? Development of the wisdom through working with your mind. So three aspects of wisdom. So where does meditation go into these three? Where does it fit into? The last one. Yeah. But really? Just the last one? Middle one, because of citta, because you understand it, right? You study it, and then you experience it. And then you start to analyze, you start to dissect, you start to understand, because you experience. The mind that is experiencing, that changing, that arising, that passing, that reacting, right? It's your mind that is actually experiencing. And because in the beginning you will still react, you will still what? You will still wishes this pain will go away. After half an hour, after half a day, after 2 days, and then after the third day, you realize, hey, it will never go away. It's still there. How can I change my view of looking at it? Then you realize you are not actually completely surrendering to that present moment the way it is at that present moment. You are wishing something different from the way it is at that present moment. You're not surrendering. You are not embracing. Okay? So when you start to surrender, when you start to embrace whatever that you feel at that present moment, it's like, okay, let's see what is it going to be like? And then all of a sudden you find it's completely different experience, physical and mental, right? Because there is no you in there. There is no ego in there. And that little few moments is when you have that wisdom. Or is when that wisdom will arise. Or you can say that at that few moments or a short moment, you're realizing, there's realization, or you can say awakening. Of course, it's not like big enlightenment, but you are enlightened. You know, a freckle, you know. So, but at least you are enlightening. You are start to understand. So next time when the experience come again, you may react the same thing. Over and over again. And that may take a little shorter. Maybe before you start to realize, darn, it's me again reacting. Okay, just sit there and watch. Right? So that taintless liberation of the mind is actually attained by this wisdom. Okay? And where does it come from? He said utter eradication of all defilements. Utter, that means complete. And complete breaking the bonds that tie us to this cycle of birth and death. And of course, I mean, we all want to reach deathless, but we're still so far away. We just have to accept it that I will still come back. Don't worry. As long as I keep these seeds here as long as I don't allow these seeds to wither, and keep nourishing it, keep watering it. Hopefully I will come back and being reborn into a family, a Dhamma family. And my parents will raise me up with Dhamma. Oh, that would be wonderful, yeah. And we'll meet again as Dhamma sisters and brothers. Yeah. Yeah, let us make that wish together. Hey. Okay. So he said, lifted from the source, from its source, the Dhamma has been reduced to the practice of a particular style of meditation. And the meditation itself had been reduced to the technique of present moment mindfulness, just to win purely immanent. What does it mean by immanent?
Immediate.
Immediate. It's not imminent.
Well, I think he means like immediate.
But imminent is imminent.
Coming, sort of imminent. It's about to happen.
Oh,
Imminent.
but this is not imminent. This is immanent. Did I type it wrong?
Oh, no, it's just doing purely imminent.
Such as peace of mind. Where did I get that?
Yeah, that sort of
Like the immediate.
Immediate,
about to happen.
not imminent. Oh, imminent is urgent,
Like,
right? Urgent, right? Urgent. Yeah. So it's two different words. Okay. So immediate goals such as peace of mind and a more stable grounding. So he said, why does mindfulness take this route? Do you remember? We talked about this last time. Why this mindfulness take this route?
Maybe because Westerners didn't believe in an afterlife.
Yeah. We talk about that. Could you please repeat this?
Because Westerners didn't believe in afterlife.
Not all Westerners, some Westerners.
Yes, but even the Christians that believe in heaven don't see that as a life.
Yeah, isn't heaven and hell after?
Not to come back to
Ah,
earth.
not to come back to earth or come back to other realms of existence.
For sure. And I was told by some Christians that angels weren't necessarily people before, that angels exist independent of having had an earthly experience.
Oh,
So
independent.
people might not become angels. They might go to heaven but not become angels.
Oh, so what are angels?
I don't know.
They
I don't
didn't-
know how God got there, so I don't know how angels got there.
That's a very good one.
I think they're supposed to be a messenger
Angels? But where did they come from?
from God.
God made angels. And God made man.
I'm just saying what I've learned in
Bibles.
Christianity. But
Yeah. Our fervent Christians are not here tonight.
also, once in heaven, you eliminate your defilement. You eliminate all your suffering forever and ever. That's what
They call that eternity, isn't it?
correct. So they believe in that afterlife, but they don't believe in the karma effect of afterlife.
But they don't call that afterlife. Eternity. But if there is eternity, that means impermanence is never true. Right?
permanently up there.
Yeah, impermanently up there, that means there is no impermanence, right? Really? You think so? Not necessarily. There's so many bad people in the world. Oh yeah, or the hells. The hells could be very crowded too.
And the non-believers, even if they're good.
Yeah, we don't get to go.
According some religions.
We don't get to go.
No, we
I'll go to the heaven that I want to go to, right? The Tusita heaven, where all my grandmasters are meditating. Yeah, right. Then we come back. Yeah.
In terms of the present moment mindfulness, to me, it seems contradictory. Because if you're trying to win those immediate goals of peace, then it's exactly what we're not doing in
Yeah.
Buddhism, which is accepting
Yeah.
whatever's happening. It's almost like that aversion to something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we need to dissipate that right away.
Yeah.
And so it's a very short-term goal, contradictory to the ultimate goal.
Yes. 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 And also, you know what? This present moment mindfulness. They think this present moment mindfulness, this present moment is a very long present moment. We didn't know that present moment is so fast. Even this is long. So that's why they said every moment there are thousands of thoughts that actually have arisen and gone. But it's just that we do not have such a strong, aware mind to be able to pick up those thoughts. So it seems that, oh, we don't have any thoughts. It's blank, is is clean. I don't have any thoughts. No. It's just that some of the thoughts they arise so fast that you don't really see it. I had an experience in my self course. This time was I heard them like mere observation. And I kept telling my students mere awareness, pure awareness, nothing but awareness, right? All the time. So this mere observation came up and boom, mere observation. I'm not doing mere observation. I'm not merely observing. I'm observing you with my ego. Oh, this is unpleasant. This is pleasant. Oh, this is pain. Oh, this thought and that thought and this thought and that thought. So all this ego setting in, all this sanya, the sanya part, the perception part coming in, going out, coming in, going out, coming in, going out, keep coming in, going out, coming in, going. So busy, you know. And all of a sudden I realized that how my mind is so busy. I said, I'm not merely observing. And then, merely observing. What is merely observing, eh? So I'm just sitting there and watch. Hey, you know what? I saw this chattering mind coming, and it started to chatter, and I watch it. The chatter just boom, gone. Hey, I could actually see the arising of the chatter, but so brief, so fast. I don't know how many fractions of a second, but it just arise, and I could see the beginning of the chatter. You know, one or two words. You know, I think it was one and a half. I didn't know what's the second word, but there was this arising of the second word coming, and I watch it. Mere observation. At that moment, that was mere observation. There was no perception attached to it. Just really freely, relaxingly, and just like this. And I understand what this Chinese chant was about. The Zen meditation was about is watching this arising of this. If I want to say something, arising of this phrase or arising of the end of the phrase. Wow, it's so abstract. When my teacher said that, when my sifu said that to me, to us, I said, I don't understand. I don't know what, I don't have a clue what's going on. So I never pay any attention to this Zen practice. And at that moment during my self retreat, I said, this is it. This is what my sifu has said. Watching the arising of this conversation, of this phrase of I wanted to say something, or watching the end of this thing that I have already said, or I was saying, and it's towards the end. It's really boggling. Yeah, it's just amazing. I don't know how to put that in words. Sorry, this is the best I can do. But it was really in that moment, at that moment, just fraction of us. I don't know how many fraction of a second. So this is really this present moment mindfulness. Don't have a misunderstanding of this present moment is such a long moment. Really flickering, flickering, flickering. Okay. Well, what he said is this is what he said. He hear this American thing. I don't know where did I get that from. Page. Oh, transfer into custodianship. We talked about that last time. Including the American spirit of pragmatism, declining influence of theistic. I read this afternoon. Remember where it is, Evan? Which page?
Sorry, no.
She did the homework with my article. But anyway, never we can go on with the next one. Is what is this? The most important of meditation is really understanding it from this point of view is whatever is impermanent is dukkha. This is okay. This is on page 12, a case study, the contemplation of impermanence. Page 12. Number 4, a case study, the contemplation of impermanence. Got it? Your page is not the same as mine.
They just don't have numbers at the bottom. They have
Oh.
say the 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, the number 4, a case study. The contemplation of impermanence. He said, I want to exemplify my point by considering how classical Buddha Dhamma and the modern mindfulness movement diverge in their perspectives on the contemplation of impermanence. Yeah, both share the understanding that the fact of impermanence entails the injunction, don't cling, for if you cling to what is impermanent, you will eventually suffer. However, the two approaches to the Dhamma draw different conclusions from this maxim, indeed almost contrary conclusions, like what verses said. For classical Buddhism, insight into impermanence is the passageway to a radical understanding of the second characteristics. That means the dukkha lakkhana, that means the mark of suffering, that means the cause of suffering. Whatever is impermanent is dukkha. This does not mean, of course, that whatever is impermanent is a mass of misery, but rather that whatever is impermanent is inherently flawed. Is flawed, is not perfect, and is inadequate, and is defective, and is unable to provide lasting happiness and security because of impermanency. That's why it's defective, it's insecure, and is inadequate, and is flawed, and is unable to bring ultimate happiness and freedom. That's why. First two characteristics, he said, impermanence and dukkha, jointly entail the third, the selfless nature of phenomena. That means the eradication of defilements, right? That means he's talking about the Four Noble Truths here. Okay? And the absence of even selfhood in all bases of self-identification. So So he said contemporary teachers of insight meditation also dwell on the teaching of non-self, often hailing it as the core of the Dhamma. And this focus has opened up avenues of dialogue between proponents of insight meditation and neuroscientists, cognitive psychologists, and psychotherapists. So we go back to this is maybe you will have a chance to watch Ajahn Brahm talking about this mindfulness thing. And he said, if you want to call nowadays the secular practice of mindfulness, you better call it brainfulness. It's the development of the brain. It's not development of the mind. It's true. Look at all these scientists using Buddhist monks, attaching electrodes to their brain to test the brain size, to test the brain wave. They are really testing the brain. But it's not the brain that is being mindful. It's the mind that is mindful. It's the cultivation of the mind. But it will bring effects to the development of the brain. But that is not a brain activity. They got it wrong. Like Venerable said, the afterbirth, the life after birth, remember? It's not a brain activity, it's a consciousness. Where does consciousness lie? Consciousness lies in the mind. Remember? The clinical psychologist of French, is it Dutch? Dutch. When we look at that afterlife. So interesting, eh? Interesting. So he said, it does not mean, of course, that whatever, well, we talk about this, but rather that whatever is impermanent is inherently flawed. So in classical Buddhism, the fact of impermanence viewed as a sign of deficiency. Yeah. As the Buddha says, conditioned things, monks, are impermanent, unstable, unreliable. It is enough to be disenchanted with all conditioned things, enough to be dispassionate towards them, enough to be liberated from them. Unless we actually dive ourselves into the conditioned arising, unless we apply that concept to our experiences in life, I tell you, we will never be able to liberate ourselves from all the really passion or attachments or sufferings or dukkha, whatever. Unless we really start to see our life experiences from that point of view, the conditions arising, the 12 links of dependent arising. Yeah. So he said, unless you start to see that, otherwise you will not see this. He said when he actually attained enlightenment, he said, birth is finished. That means I will not be reborn anymore. The spiritual life has been lived, and what had to be done has been done. There is no further coming back to the state of being. That's what he said during the night of his enlightenment. So this is a very serious article, and I think we need to actually go back to read it over and over again and to remind us what we are doing. Don't fall into that trend of going into the secular practice. Otherwise, we will be wasting our energy. We'll be, I shouldn't say wasting. We will be actually deploying our energy in a field that is not as fruitful as it should have been. Right? So we all want to be liberated from the dukkha. We're so suffering, so much dukkha. Right? And so much suffering in you and in me. And in this world, and in this community, and in your family. No? No dukkha in your family? we should have directed the camera to you. So if we actually deploy our energy on this right path, yes, we may not be totally liberated this lifetime, but at least I think to a certain extent we will be liberated. At least we can be liberated from some of our karma. So don't shuffle things onto the back and pretend that it's not there. Deal with it. Face up to the calamity and deal with it. Right? Don't pretend. Don't. As this morning, I was saying to Eva when she drove. I've got a wonderful chauffeur. She's driving me, so I don't have to be so tired. I said, we are so ignorant. We dug our heads into the cave and stick our butts out, and we presented that we don't see anything because we don't see anything in the cave, because everything, all the sense are dug into the caves. But our enemy sees our butts. Everybody see our butts, but no, we don't see our butts. So stupid, so unwise, right? So we should know, hey, what's this like? How am I going to deal with it? Deal with it, because I tell you, impermanence can strike you anytime. But when it strikes you, you will regret. I should have done it earlier. I should have dealt with that earlier. I tell you, there is no if anymore at that moment. Deal with it. Up front, deal with it. Okay. On it? Oh, good. And this last part I read to Eva this morning. It was really good. He said, what is worrisome? Worrisome, however, is a subsequent trajectory that mindfulness took once they had inserted a wedge between meditation practice on the one side and its supportive envelope of Buddhist faith, ethics, and understanding on the other. That is the last page. And he said the first act of separation was followed by still sharper divisions between classical Buddhism and the mindfulness movement. In Act 2, he said mindfulness meditation came to be taught deliberately and emphatically as a non-religious discipline. Initially, it took place as the emergence of mindfulness-based stress reduction, which was offered in a gesture of compassion to help people crushed by stress and chronic pain regain their hope and inner dignity. Okay, so he said in Act 3, mindfulness was aligned with other caring professions, which led to multiple mergers and marriages that gave birth to children of their own. That means other children of mindfulness are born. And as it flowed downstream, still further, it became a secular form of inner hygiene, similar to yoga, but with a more distinctive psychological flavor. At the mouth of the river, he said, where we stand now, mindfulness has become a handy buzzword that can be attached at random to virtually any product or skill in order to invest it with a spiritual aura or increase its market appeal. Yeah, mindful romance, mindful birthing, mindful athletics, mindful exercise, mindful business strategies, mindful warfare. Perhaps just over the horizon, we will find some entrepreneurs pushing mindfulness. It's true, isn't it? And the severing of mindfulness, that means the separation of mindfulness practice from the Buddha path may well bring unforeseen benefits. Yes, it has. It has proven to be effective in people who experience chronic pain. But as a commodity being pushed and promoted in the global marketplace, mindfulness will perhaps flourish for a while, and then, like so many other fads, fall into oblivion. Oblivion. As for the long-term repercussions of the secularization of mindfulness on Buddhism itself, this remains to be seen. So remember, I think that's why we talk about this morning was we have had so many mindfulness meditation courses in the past, like how many years? 13 years or more than that, longer than that. I think the first mindfulness course was 2002 or 2003, I can't remember. And look, how many of them return? How many of them return? Why? Because they fall onto that secular path. And now you are here because you know it's so important to have that religious component on there together with this development and cultivation. And these two components have to go hand in hand. But those non-returning students or return only for emergency ER treatment, yeah, because they don't see that component part. The reference to the triple gem, the development of morality, the importance of cultivation of samasati as a samadhi. They did not see that. You see, that's the difference. So it still needs a lot of work in the West. I want to share with you a very inspiring story. A monk, I think I have talked about him before. Yes? Oh, really? Okay. Did I talk about him last year? Oh, I talked about him last year. Okay. This is him. Paul met him. We met him because he went to a pilgrimage with us. It's the Five Peaks Mountain in China. He passed away 2 days ago, 103. He was imprisoned during the Chinese communism cultural revolution for 33 years. Remember? I told you. And one time he was hanging up and upside down and being beaten. And he said, I'm just like an animal being beaten up. And he was ready to go and kill himself. But he had a dream. That's why his name is the contemplation of dream. In Chinese, it's Mong Cam. Mong is dream. Cam is contemplation. Contemplation of dreams. And in his dream that day, he actually dreamed that he was up in the big snowy mountain with big temples there. He was going to give discourse to big group of people. And he knew he had to go on living. So during that 33 years of imprisonment, there was one thing he always constantly reminded himself. He said, dukkha, life is constantly like having a burning wheel above our head. It's so imminent that we have to put that fire out. That urgency. That urgency to what? To liberate ourselves. To come out of the sufferings. So he was in prison for 33 years, and he was released at the end of 83. And in the beginning of 84, he started to teach again. And the news down the grapevine, okay, I got a message from some of my students in China. It said the news down from the grapevine. He said that at that time when he was released and started to teach the Dhamma again, he said the number of years that I was imprisoned, I will live that number of years as in my life, like that many more years. And this year was 33 years of his life, of 33 years after he was released from imprisonment. And 2 days ago at 4:30 afternoon, he went out. He went out because he was redeveloping, rebuilding the whole monastery. And he went out to look at the monastery. He said, "This is complete. This is good. Everything is good. It's all completed. It's all finished." He went back to his room. He sat there. He's gone. Just like that. And this is the clouds. This is a cloud that day. It's not painting. It's not painting. Look. It's the night. And I wanted to find out. There are little buildings at the bottom. I wonder where was the origin. I wonder where was the origin of that light. Because possibly from his monastery. Yeah. And I don't know whether I have that video here. I wanted to show that video. I may have that video. Now you can see all my emails. Here. There, video. Can I just play? Oops. Oh, you can see his face. Go back a little bit. You can see his face. There. Here. Can you see a man's face here? Did you see that? Put it in a bigger.
Oh, yeah. Two eyes and a nose, mouth.
Let's see. Here.
It's kind of like a skull.
Here, you mean?
Yeah.
Down below.
Right there.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can see. It's interesting, hey? You all see it? Varsha?
Yeah.
Huh. Good. Because Westerners are not very. Look at the clouds. That's it. Sorry. It's a very short clip. But you see, this is how a really achieved practitioner can present himself or herself when they die. Is to actually shine rainbow lights. Lights shine like rainbow. And I'm not surprised that he actually had those rainbow lights. He had colostomy. I think it was now it's 22 years. 1996, 98, I think 98 or 99, I met him. I went to listen to his discourse in Vancouver. And in the beginning of his discourse, he said, you know what? I want to tell you something. If you hear blah, 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 blah during the discourse, or you smell something, it's me. It's not your friend next door. It's me, because I have a bag. I just had an operation. I had a bag. I have a colostomy bag. So please pardon my smell and pardon my sound. And he was just like, now he was 103. Remember when we saw him, he was so like so vibrant.
He gave us
A little discourse, yeah.
just like, he's
Yeah.
like 40 years old.
Yeah, and he actually, there was an incense holder, and there was an incense in there, and as soon as he saw us going in, he brought up a token incense from the incense holder, and then light up another incense, and he said, attendant monk said, "Seafood, there's already incense there." He said, if there is already incense, can I not burn another incense? And the attendant monk said, yeah, of course. That's ego. That's ego. That's you know how tricky the ego is. There's an incense already there. You cannot burn another one. Our views, is so unflexible, right? There's no incense. I cannot burn it. He said, "There's I cannot burn another incense, even though there is one there." He said, and then over and then put it in there, and so like this. Yeah. So just wanted to share with you about him. That's the importance of really relying on the Buddha as your guidelines. Not just taking a piece of the pie out and take it as the whole pie, right? Don't just take part of the pie out and consider it as the whole pie, or you have seen the whole pie, or you have tasted the whole pie. Don't draw such a conclusion. And so, any more insights?
I think the article you mentioned about
Yeah, faith.
yeah, so I
Sattva.
think that's the big component of this mindfulness, that secular, there's no emphasis on faith.
Yeah,
Whereas for us, a lot of it is actually on faith.
yeah.
That we do it because we believe.
We believe
yeah,
the Buddha
yeah,
and his
sometimes
teachings.
it's like, I guess in a way it's like blind faith at the beginning,
Of course.
but
Yeah,
but we do it because there's a faith in there.
yeah.
Whereas in secular,
No.
it's not emphasized, or it's not there.
Yeah.
So I think that's why a lot of people come and
Yeah.
not
Come and
too
go
happy.
and not stay. Yeah. As you mentioned, yes, we all started with a little bit of blind faith. Blind faith. Okay, I like these teachings. It suits me. Just let me go and have a look at it and have a taste of it. And then when it started off like that, we become more and more clear. We become less blind because we become more wiser and wiser. And we start to see, hey, yes, this is not blind faith. This cannot be achieved by blind faith. Right? So it all, I do believe that religion always start with a little bit of blind faith. All religion, whether it's the Buddhist belief, or whether it's Christianity, whether it's Islam, whether it's Protestant, whether it's Catholicism. I think it all started with a little bit of blind faith. But gradually, whether you can become wiser or not, it really depends on your seeds, on your karma. Right? Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay, good. Finish. We bring our attention back to this physical existence. we're experiencing, whether it's mental, whether it's physical, is constant changes. With this experience, we allow this good thought to arise on our mind. For all the benefits that I gathered tonight, may I share with all beings, human, non-human, visible, invisible, big or small, far or near. May they be free of enmity. May they be free of miseries. May they start to live in a world with brightness, warmth, experience compassion and love, and be happy and be peaceful. May more and more people will encounter the wonderful words of the Buddha, study them, understand them, practice them, and help themselves to liberate from their own difficulties, sufferings, and attain true ultimate freedom and happiness and peace. Good. Have a good week.